you, my love. Remember that it's not me. I was never the one who broke your heart. We both know I've been gentle from the start. So though the questions keep on coming this time, you know that I'll listen. You know I'll be patient with you. You're my baby. Maybe this time you'll know you can trust me. You'll know I'll be faithful to you. You're my baby. I was never cheating. You connected dots that weren't there. You gave attention to the thoughts I never wear. It's not my style, even though it's so clear to me. You shouldn't base the future on the past. I know you really want this thing to last. So though the questions keep on coming this time, you know that I'll listen. You know I'll be patient with you. You're my baby. Maybe this time you'll know you can trust me. You'll know I'll be faithful to you. You're my baby. I don't wanna fight now. You're barking, you bite now. To prove that I'm right now. That you lost your sight now. I'm holding it tight now. Can't see through the night. How to show you my light now. To paint these walls white now. I don't wanna fight now. You're barking, you bite now. To prove that I'm right now. That you've lost your sight now. I'm holding it tight now. Can't see through the night. How to show you my light now. To paint these walls white now. So though the questions keep on coming this time, you know that I'll listen. You know I'll be patient with you. You're my baby. Maybe this time you'll know you can trust me. You'll know I'll be faithful. So though the questions keep on coming this time, you know that I'll listen. You know I'll be patient with you. You're my baby. Maybe this time you'll know you can trust me. You'll know I'll be faithful to you. You're my baby. To you, you're my baby. To you, you're my baby. To you, you're my baby. I don't wanna fight now. You're barking, you bite now. To prove that I'm right now. That you've lost your sight now. I'm holding it tight now. Can't see through the night. How to show you my light now. To paint these walls white now.
Nobody said it'd be easy, but we took a train to the ceiling. And now I'm high on all of my feelings. Don't searching for salvation. Can we find our way back, way back? Caught up in confusion, need a resolution. Can we find our way back, way back?
Hey guys,
Hello, everybody.
welcome to the live stream of the Podcast Discovery Show.
Yep.
Hey, we both remembered our shirts
Yeah.
today. Well, you got your hood.
We're wearing our swag this
Wearing
time.
the swag.
And cups.
Oh yeah, stickers. Well, yeah.
But yeah, we're excited to talk first about a podcast. We'll do the other Discovery Show second this week.
Yep. So we're gonna start with the PDS, and we're gonna be talking about the 10ish podcast.
Yeah. And this week what we're thinking is, in between the shows, we'll keep the feed on so that if anybody wants to say anything in chat, we'll watch that. We'll take turns going to the bathroom and getting a drink and everything.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, let me hit record on our voice recording for the podcast, and then we're ready to go.
Make sure we're all set here.
Check audio.
Check. Yep. We got audio. We got video. We're recording.
It's almost like we're learning how to do this.
Somewhat.
We're getting there.
Some would think that, but we're not.
We're getting there.
Okay, so now we need 10 seconds.
Yeah, sure, let's do it. You gotta,
Yeah, I thought about slapping you.
I thought you were gonna do your scream again. You scared the crap out of me earlier.
I don't think that unsuspecting victims should be exposed to that. Actually, it would be unpleasant.
Oh yeah, that would be bad audio.
On
If I would have known you were recording, I wouldn't have cursed. But maybe we can still release that
I'll find a way to
15-second video.
We'll see if we can find a way
scare
to
the crap out of me.
We'll see if we can find a way to edit it down.
All right, well, let's get to it. Welcome to the Podcast Discovery Show, the podcast that's about other podcasts. Every week, we have a book club style discussion about a show that we recommended the week before, and at the end of the show, we're going to recommend a new one so that you can listen to it, and we'll discuss that one next week. I'm Kurt.
And I am Zach.
And this week, we're going to be talking about the 10ish podcast. It's a podcast where two friends, Brandon and Nick, one of them will bring a 10ish top 10 list. So it's sometimes not 10. This week it was 10. And the episode we're talking about is the strongest animals on Earth. So one of the guys knows what the list is, and the other one doesn't, and he has to guess what he thinks the top 10 is. So it's kind of a game in that sense. But what I love about the show, and I think we've talked about this so many times throughout the years, is we love where we can learn something and it doesn't feel like you're learning something.
Yeah, and what do they call that? Edutainment.
Yeah, they even meant to have it on their website and stuff.
Yeah, and okay, just so everybody knows, because I ran into this, 10ish is spelled like 10, the number, ISH.
Yes.
So if you want to look it up after we talk about it, it's 10, the number, ISH. But yeah, it is one of those shows where you pick up all kinds of little facts. They're hilarious the whole time.
Funny.
There's a lot of things going on.
I've listened to maybe 5 episodes, something like that, but I haven't heard how they know each other. because I feel like they've known each other for a long time, or that they're related. I don't know. They may be brothers. I don't know.
They
may be
definitely have
related.
that banter of.
That's what I'm saying. You know, the way that they rib on each other, it's you can tell that they're very they've been friends for a long time.
Yeah, and it really is a really funny show. There was multiple times where I was losing it, and we'll get into some of those because we'll walk you guys through some of the list. But in general, it sounds amazing. It's a really great premise for a show because that became the thing, is just top 10 lists for everything. Because I think it's just because it's like bite-sized, digestible information for people. And so when social media really took off, people got really into it because it's also got a hook, like a built-in hook, where, hey, there's a lot of information here. There's 10 things you want to know. And all you have to do is click one time. Well, sometimes.
Yeah, nowadays, a lot of times they start with 10 and you have to press the arrow, and then
If I have to press the arrow, I'm out.
Every
Like,
third thing's an ad.
I literally eject as soon as I have to click the arrow to go through, to scroll through.
I've fallen down the rabbit hole many times because I want to know what the number one is at times, and I've fallen prey to those a few times.
That's how they get you.
I know.
But yeah, these guys have a really funny show.
Yeah, so Brandon was the one that made the list this week,
Okay.
and it was the top 10 strongest animals on Earth. Now I want to ask you something. What did you think before was the strongest animal on Earth?
I didn't know how they were going to categorize it because it wasn't by pure weight they can lift. It's like weight to body mass. And as soon as I said that, I had a pretty good idea that it was an insect, spoiler alert. But yeah, I had an idea that essentially they just are really strong for their size.
I had actually assumed that it was an ant. I did assume that it was an ant.
Yeah, me too. And now we're gonna take a quick pause. Hey, thanks everybody who's watching right now. This is part of us live streaming. Sometimes we have to take breaks. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make Kirk's chair really tall while he's not in here and see how he reacts. It's all good.
Did you mess with my chair?
Possibly.
Dang it! It won't go down.
Why?
I don't know.
When you're pulling the lever, it doesn't go down?
No. I hate you.
I don't know what that one even does. No, it was the other one. I don't know why it would be broken like that. What does this side twisty do? Dang it, that's my bad. I didn't realize it would do that permanently.
Well, now I look like a normal size
You look so
adult.
tall.
I look like a normal size adult for the first time ever.
Hey, what's up, Keith?
Keith in the house. Alright, I'm gonna press record. What were we talking about though?
I think we were just like talking about ants. We were talking about what we thought would be ants.
Yeah, so it is one of the top 10. It's actually one of the top 3. We'll get to that in a minute. But I had assumed that it was an ant. I was a little bit surprised by number 1. Not super surprised. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense once they mentioned it. But
Yeah.
we're going to go through the list that they did. And we'll talk about some of the really cool facts that they had about some of these animals. And we'll start with number 10. So the number 10 was a bear.
That one took a turn I was not expecting. Because, yeah, you know they're really strong, but they're also very large animals, so the ratio wasn't good. But then he talked about there was that Wikipedia page that's literally dedicated to only bear deaths.
Attacks, yeah.
Like, and it sounded very disturbing. It sounded like a list I don't want to read. Because I remember, did you ever see a movie called The Edge? I think that's what it's called, with Sean Connery and Alec Baldwin.
No, I have not.
It was like, I think it was like a 80s or 90s movie, but there was like a bear attack in it, and it scarred me for a long time. Yeah, I saw it when I was a little kid, and yeah, I was terrified of bear attacks for a long time. And Revenant is a different level than that movie.
There was a movie that I saw when I was a kid. It didn't have a bear attack, but it was something darkness, and it was about hunting lions in Africa.
Oh yeah.
And that movie scarred me as a kid.
Was it Ghost in the Darkness?
Yes, I think that sounds right. That was terrifying.
I think that one's based off a true story too.
I think it was.
There was like a village that was attacked by lions.
Yeah, and they like had like cages that they were trying to catch them in and stuff. Oh man, I remember that. I remember having nightmares because of that movie as a child.
So yeah, they talked about this disturbing list where, and okay, they did talk about one guy who literally was killed by a bear because he was riding a mountain bike and just ran into it and it mauled him and killed him.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate. That one was real sad.
Yeah, basically,
they're probably all sad.
Yeah, I think they're all sad, and I mean, it's one of those things. Yeah, it's interesting in that morbid way, but I don't really want to read that list too much. I get it. Like, bears will kill you.
Ooh, speaking of bears, when I was a kid, and I remember my dad being livid about this. We have a friend that lives in Tennessee, and so we went to the Smoky Mountain National Park. We're driving through, and we see this giant group of people around something near the woods, and our friend who we had gone to visit, he's like, "Hey, come on with me, Kurt." And he was a mountain man. I mean, different level mountain man. So he takes me out there, and apparently it was a baby bear. And there's like 40 people around this baby bear, like, "Oh look, it's a baby bear." And when my dad found out what everyone was around, he was so mad.
I believe that, because where's the mama bear?
Exactly.
Yeah, and that is the thing they will maul you for.
Luckily, we never saw a mama bear.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing. But yeah, so they kind of they break out a couple different random fun things about each animal. You know, they talk about they can crush a bowling ball with its bite, and they were talking about like lifting ability too, like the strength that they could lift something.
Yeah. The number 9 was the anaconda.
There was like every one of these they did find some kind of disturbing information on.
Yeah, the disturbing information on the anaconda was about the breeding balls.
And just the name of it, like just the name alone.
So we'll try to have a little more innuendo than they did. So essentially, when these animals try to breed, sometimes multiple males will try to copulate with the same female, but she will only choose one. But that's disturbing and funny.
No, but I don't.
The thing that blew my mind is they talked about how long they would just like wrestle in this ball of horniness trying.
No, but
to
I don't
breed.
understand how that's choosing one.
I don't know.
That doesn't sound like choosing. That sounds like
I give up.
It was
just
like it was
whatever.
like so basically an anaconda orgy happens, and they all wrap around each other and just start like wrestling. I think is how they described it. Just
they said for as long as like 4 weeks or something ridiculous. It was like a ridiculous amount of time that these things might stay in their breeding ball.
That was another movie that. Did you see Anaconda?
Yes, I saw that as a kid.
That's a good one.
That one was scary as well.
As a kid, it's scary. As an adult, not so much.
Yeah, the graphics on that one were real bad. Looking back, when we were at that age, though, man.
And that cast is wild. Jennifer Lopez, Ice Cube,
yeah,
Owen Wilson, John Voight. They were just like, whoever wants to be in this movie can be in it.
Whoever says yes. They just sent it to everybody, and they just grabbed everybody that said yes.
Like, you want to be a movie about anacondas? Yep.
And then number 8 was very easy. I would have guessed this one was an elephant.
Yeah, and I if I'm correct, well, I'm pretty sure if you look at max weight lifted on this list, it was the elephant, because they said like 9 tons.
Yes, 9 tons. That is so
That's
much.
ridiculous. The only reason it's not like number one on this list, and it makes sense that they broke it down this way, but the only reason they weren't number one is because elephants are also enormous.
Yeah, because it's a certain amount times body weight. And since elephants weigh so much, it makes it a lot more difficult to have it. I mean, how much does an elephant weigh? Like probably like 2 to 3 tons.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah. And the next was an ox. I don't think I would have guessed that one, but it makes sense. I mean, we use them historically
As cars.
Yeah, as cars. Yeah, the first car.
Yeah.
And then the one that we've learned a lot about this animal recently, and that's the tiger. We'll
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit more in Todd's this week, or we did talk about it by the time this releases. Yeah, the tiger.
Yeah, and that one I have heard of, and I don't know. Have you ever seen? There's YouTube videos of they will have like 3 bodybuilders try and play tug of war with one big cat. Have you ever seen that?
I have not.
So like at zoos, they set up essentially like a hole in plexiglass and just run a line through. They give it to the lion because it's just like entertainment. It's
Yeah,
not for
they
them to
probably
do.
love it.
And literally, I have watched 3 or 4 very large men just pulling as hard as they can. And I'm not talking like, oh, the lion barely won. It's like they couldn't move the lion. The lion did not twitch even a little bit while all of these guys are just pulling as hard as they can. So I do think that like animal strength is very different than ours because we moved towards like fine motor skills and they just stayed in pure brute strength.
Now they had a fact about the tiger that was really fascinating that I'd never heard before, and that is that they regularly will attack and kill bears. I had never heard that before.
I had not either.
And they specifically do it because bears have a lot of excess fat and for energy, and I mean this is just nature. You know, the tigers know, hey, it's like blubber. It's like I'm gonna kill this bear because like there's a lot of energy there, so they do it. And they say they jump out of like trees and just like it's crazy. It was a crazy fact that I did not know beforehand.
That is definitely like an impressive and terrifying animal because have you ever seen any of the videos where they'll catch like near tiger attacks?
I don't think so.
So there's one with a group of people that are riding on elephants, and a tiger is literally hiding 7 feet away from them in some grass, but they're ambush predators. They're really advanced. They're apex predators. There's nothing that hunts tigers. Except for their only predator is us. And there's a video where they're just like riding through a field, and then out of grass that's like right next to where they're riding through, a tiger just jumps and literally jumps from the ground up onto the back of an elephant trying to get at the person who's riding it.
That is terrifying.
Yeah, they're serious. Those are serious predators for sure.
I'm trying to find, because we're going to do the ad now, but I got to find where the, dang it.
Are you just gonna read it?
We'll talk about it kind of. I mean, there's a tiny little piece, that bold piece they want us to say.
Okay.
But this week's episode is brought to you by the Coronavirus Daily Briefing. Actually, I need to change that because they actually changed their name since we got the ad.
Really?
Yeah, to Coronavirus Morning Report. All right, take 2. we are learning on the ad stuff. It's been new. It's been interesting.
Yeah.
This week's episode is brought to you by the coronavirus.
Take 3.
Now I'm in my own head. This episode of the Podcast Discovery Show is brought to you by the Coronavirus Morning Report. There's so much information for one, and there's so much misinformation that's out there right now about what's going on with this crazy virus, and we need to find somewhere that's a safe place that we can somewhat trust and we know has verifiable sources for all of their news.
It is a complete sea of information right now.
Yeah,
it's
nuts.
nonstop.
So that is what the Coronavirus Morning Report is all about. It's about giving you up-to-date, daily information. I mean, it gives you very up-to-date information about everything. And it's very non-biased. This isn't a political thing, but somehow it has become a political thing. But this show tries their best to remain neutral and just talk about the facts. And I love how they have so many sources, and it's all scientifically proven type stuff. They go through a lot of effort to make sure that it's good facts. I listened to a few episodes, and one of my favorite things about the show is they'll have a section in most days, which is essentially debunking, misinformation that's out there.
It is. That is a real downside of something that's a global issue, that there's just gonna be constantly like having to be fact checked because people are gonna spread information that's untrue and dangerous.
Yeah, and they're short episodes, 15 to 20 minutes, and you can learn everything you need to know, and then you don't have to watch all these briefings and stuff on the TV that take 3 hours and you learn too little facts.
Yeah.
So go and search your podcast app right now and subscribe to the Coronavirus Morning Report. That's Coronavirus Morning Report. All right, and back to the episode number 5. Do you remember what number 5 was? It's the only bird in there.
Eagle.
America.
Was it the bald eagle specifically, or was it just eagle?
It was just eagle.
Yeah. No, and I don't know. I wish that every one of my references wasn't. Oh, I saw a video once, but I did see a video once of an eagle hunting a small deer. So there's a lot of, what do you call somebody who's a falconer? I can't. That might be it.
Mm-hmm.
But they have huge eagles in some cases instead of like a little hawk, and they would literally hunt small deer, and they just.
That's crazy. Now, I remember when I was getting my hunting license recently, and I was trying to look at all the different laws and stuff like that, because it was for Florida, and I hadn't hunted in Florida. I had always gone to Alabama. And I remember seeing this whole section for falconing, and I'm like, this is a thing? Because like people will go to like these national parks and stuff where you're allowed to go hunting, and they will take their falcon or eagle or whatever beast they have, and they will hunt, like you said, like hunting small game, or even I can't imagine picking up a small deer. And I love how they talked about how it's like the size of their son, like how much it can pick up. It's a little terrifying.
Yeah, they did talk about that for a little bit.
Or 2 or 3 times their dog.
Yeah. And I mean, that definitely is an issue. I had a Chihuahua for a long time, and I was conscious of hawks.
Yeah, my little dog, when he was really little, I'd take him out early in the morning because I had to go a lot. And I remember there would be an owl in the back, and I'm like, he looks just like a little white rabbit.
Yep.
I gotta make sure that I would like stand over him while he was doing his business. He'd look up at me like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm trying to protect you.
I'm saving you, man. Be grateful. No, I do. There is something about birds of prey that it's awesome to watch, like on Planet Earth or any of those. The segments about birds of prey are usually awesome, visually awesome.
Yeah. Number 4 was the gorilla.
I knew there had to be an ape on this list somewhere.
I did not know that they were as strong as they were, though. They can lift 10 times their own body weight.
No, a chimpanzee, a little, much smaller than we are, is much, much stronger than we are. Much, much stronger. I think it's something like 8 times stronger than we are. They can literally like pick you up. That's why you don't want a pet chimp, because it's not good.
Yeah, because you don't want a chimp temper tantrum.
And that is what happens. And people die from having pet chimps, for sure.
They can be mean at times.
What I'm gonna have to do is, because I'm thinking of a video right now. I've seen a lot of animal videos, everybody. I admit it. I'll just have to I'll put them in the show notes so you guys can check them out. So I saw this one where, and the really cool thing about the apes is they're so intelligent that it's weird and different. So I saw one where a guy was with a chimpanzee, and he climbed up in a tree house, and he puts his hand up, and the chimp helps him up. He literally just stands there and just like pulls him up in there.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
They did talk about Coco.
Coco the gorilla. I wish they hadn't ruined Coco the gorilla for me.
They didn't ruin it. I like it even better.
Do you?
Dang it. Now you're gonna get weird. But it was
How
already
did,
weird.
how did
It was
I,
already weird.
I'm not the one
get
who
it.
made that weird. Because I feel like we should just say we're referencing now. Apparently, Coco the gorilla would often request to see nipples. And like the zookeepers would bring people by.
My favorite thing is that there was multiple zookeepers that ended up suing the zoo because basically the gorilla, but essentially the person that was the head zookeeper would be like, hey, he wants to see your nips, so show him your nips.
Yeah, it's like
I'm sure that wasn't a weird thing.
yeah, it's a gorilla. You need to just go with it.
But then they talked about all the celebrities that had gone and seen him, and that was funny.
Well, Coco knew a bunch of sign language, right?
I don't know who Coco the gorilla is.
I'm pretty
I
sure
really
that's the
don't.
one. There was a gorilla that knew hundreds of words in sign language. And so when they were talking about this, my idea was Coco like knew the sign for like,
Let me see them nips.
let me see some nipples. And the zookeeper's like, all right, get in there. It's Coco time.
Oh man, Coco. Number 3 was the ant. So we weren't far off thinking that it was like an ant or something like that. It was a leafcutter ant. Now, something that they taught us about the leafcutter ant is that their mandibles basically vibrate like a freaking buzzsaw to cut leaves. I didn't know that. I thought it was just like scissors.
Yeah, that was my assumption. I didn't realize that I didn't know. I thought it was just
Chainsaw Massacre, but with leaves.
I thought it was just normal like ant snappies. Like when you get bit by
I mean, we're just used to
fire
fire
ant.
ants, so.
And I mean, they hold on, but I just figured that's what it was. Like they just bite leaves.
And the top 2 are both beetles. But the number 1, well, the number 2 is a rhinoceros beetle. It's the beetle from A Bug's Life, the one with like the big horn
Yeah.
that looks like a rhinoceros. And the number 1 is the dung beetle. I mean, it's just such a crappy number 1, man.
It really is.
Let that one sit there for a second.
No, I was trying to think of, I had a lot of things pop in my head, but none of them didn't involve a word that we try to not say too much on the podcast. So I just let it happen.
So, there was so much talk about feces when it came to the dung beetle because that is its whole life.
Yep.
I didn't know that some of them like built their house in poop.
Yeah, some that just is their house. They
That
just
is their
burrow
home.
in there. Some roll it around. That's the one I thought of when they said it. I thought it was the one because they stand on like their front feet and they like with their back feet like push it backwards. And it's goofy looking.
It is goofy looking.
Makes like just like a poop boulder that there's rolling around.
Yeah, it's like reverse Indiana Jones.
It's
pushing.
exactly like Indiana Jones. I think that was implied in the movie.
Okay.
There's a giant dung beetle living in there.
So that was the top 10 list for strongest animals. We learned so much about animals, and yet somehow we didn't feel like we were at school. It was fun.
Yeah.
I learned silly stuff, but I also learned some actual pretty good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some of the other episodes that I wanted to mention, because they're like 80 episodes in, so that's a pretty good log of stuff you can
Yeah,
do.
there's a lot of stuff you can check out.
It's a really good show, and the newest episode, I'm not gonna lie, I wish that I would have seen it before, because I think it came out this week, so it didn't work out timing wise.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like top 10 Office characters from The Office,
Oh, okay.
top 10 scenes from The Office, things like that. It was about The Office,
Oh, it was multiples.
all about The Office.
Okay.
Yeah. They had one, which was one of my favorites, all about Disney.
Weird.
It was.
Have you heard of Disney before?
I don't know what I haven't been in almost a month, and I feel like I'm starting to shake a little bit, and I'm having dreams about it.
Yeah.
And I will say this, I even tweeted it the other day because it was kind of funny. Me and my wife love Disney. My kids do too, but it got to the point where my kids are like, really, Disney again? And when your kids are doing that, you've been too much. But
when it's no longer magical anymore.
my son or my daughter will be like, I'd rather stay home and watch TV, or I want to play Fortnite instead of going to Disney. So it was that about a month ago. We'd be like, hey, let's go to Disney. Oh, not again. Now,
They miss it.
the other day, I go into my game room, which is their game room as well. Leah is on the Xbox, on Minecraft, building the Skyliner, which is a transportation system at Disney, and then she's building Hollywood Studios, and she's watching the Imagineering story on Disney Plus, and I'm like, what is happening right now?
She misses Disney.
She misses Disney so much.
She misses it. It makes sense.
But yeah, they did one all about like basically it was the most profitable areas of the Disney company. It was an interesting list. It was probably not what you thought. This was a good one. I haven't listened to this one yet, but I want to listen to this one. Top 10 Google searches that start with "what is."
Okay, yeah,
What
I do.
is-
I immediately want to know what that is
Yes,
for sure.
I want to know that one. That's a clickbaity one for me.
What
right
is
there.
the top 10 list of Google? What is top 10s?
Exactly. There you go. And then there was another one, most followed Twitter accounts. I haven't listened to that one, but I'm curious about that one. Oh, Trump just said the other day that he's number one on Facebook.
Is that a thing? Can you, what, in followers?
I don't know. That's all he said.
Oh,
And it was in a press conference probably about coronavirus.
well, I'm gonna just go. If that's all it takes, I am also number one in Facebook. Don't worry about what the category is, but I'm number one in it.
All right, so that was our discussion of the 10ish podcast. It's a great show.
Yeah, awesome
so
show.
fun. Brandon, Nick, good job on your show. We love it.
Yeah.
Hit us up on Twitter. We'd love to be friends.
Yep. No, it was. I really did enjoy the whole thing. And that brings us to a recommendation for next week. And we're gonna switch gears a little bit. I'm gonna have to give a shout out to the person who brought this to my attention. That's Mark, Mountain Hauler. We've talked about him on the other Discovery show, local musician that I became friends with. And Malcolm Gladwell, Bruce Headlam, and Justin Richmond have a music podcast. Basically, the amazing version of Creators Code, where they talk to really, really famous and influential musicians. People like, and Rick Rubin is also a part of this, and if you don't know, just a huge producer. But they have episodes like Rick Rubin, where he just talks about his life in the recording industry. Tom Petty's The Creation of Wildflowers. 2 episodes with Questlove. You have Vampire Weekend. Jack White, Tyler the Creator, Wyclef Jean. You have all kinds of Black Keys. You have tons of really high level people. Bon Iver, another awesome one. But the one that I really want to listen to and talk to you about is James Taylor Comes Clean.
James Taylor.
Because I really love James Taylor. He has a really challenging life. You know, it wasn't something that it was all just like celebrity and everything like that. He's a thoughtful guy, and he's still pretty much as good as he's ever been. He's probably a better guitarist now than he was, and his voice still sounds amazing. So basically, I think that would be a great one to talk about next week. So it's Broken Record with Rick Rubin, and the episode is James Taylor Comes Clean.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Now, before we leave, I wanted to tell everybody, I mean, when this comes out, there's a few days left. Podchaser is doing a promotion where if you leave a review on Podchaser, they are, I'm going to write this down real quick because I want to name the right, I think it's Meal on Wheels, but I don't want to say it and be wrong. Where is it? Oh, this is just my stuff. It hit me just now, so that's why I didn't have this ready.
Oh, that's fine.
Oh, come on. Look it up on Twitter because I saw it all over Twitter. Yep. His Meals on Wheels. I was right.
There it is.
I'm not crazy. So before we leave, I wanted to mention something. First of all, we're doing a promotion ourselves for reviews on Apple Podcast or Podchaser or I guess Google Play. Do they do reviews there?
I think they do reviews, not on Spotify.
Yeah, I know they don't do it on Spotify. But if you leave us a review on any of those platforms and you leave your shirt size at the end of your review, we have some t-shirts. And if you're watching the live stream or the video later on, these are those t-shirts. They're nice, comfy shirts, and we would love for you to have one. So leave us a review on any of those platforms. But along with that, when this comes out, there'll be a few days left of Podchaser doing a promotion. What I love about this is you don't have to do hardly anything to help raise money for Meals on Wheels. And for every review on Podchaser for another show, so if you were to review the Podcast Discovery Show, you would be essentially, Podchaser will donate 25 cents to Meals on Wheels. So for every review, they're giving money.
Yeah, and it looks like if we reply to their review, we're gonna double it. So we're gonna be watching because we wanna see your feedback. We wanna say hey to you, and we wanna donate some money to Meals on Wheels.
Yeah, and we're friends with Podchaser. We love the platform. You know, the being able to find shows and leave reviews and stuff like that. We actually have a whole playlist on there, by the way. If you haven't seen that, it gives. I think we got almost 100 now. No, about 80. About 80 of the shows that we've recommended throughout our life as a podcast.
Throughout our life. I mean, it's technically true. I wasn't really recommending podcasts before.
So we have a whole list. It's like a playlist. So you can go and you can find the shows that we've talked about in the past. You can listen to them and things like that. Specific episodes and everything. But yeah, so that's it. And remember, guys.
There's always more to discover.
Stay frosty.
Stay frosty.
Remember that was Josh's thing for a while? Stay frosty.
We'll throw it in there. Stay frosty. All right. Kirk, would you like to talk to
you
Chat?
Go ahead. So
hey, Chat, Kirk is here to take your questions.
I am here
Ask
to take
him
your
any
questions.
kind of question you want right now.
This is an AMA.
And he's gonna answer it. With
AMA was PP.
With his expert knowledge.
All right. Yes, and we have some call-ins that I'm really excited to share with you guys. Keith, if you're still in there, one of them is yours. I think that what happened, there's a whole Todd's that we recorded that is lost to the ether, and I think we played the one where you recommended Peanut Butter Falcon and a bunch of those other movies, and so I remember editing it and everything, but things happened, it's gone. But yeah, so that's one of the things we're gonna play during this episode, but also we have those amazing phone calls that we've been getting on the Discovery Hotline, and we've got some interesting ones, so I'm excited to share those. They're fun. We still have not been able to figure out who this person is. I still think it's someone that we know, but I'm pretty good with recognizing voices, and I do not recognize their voice. So either they're very good at disguising their voice, or maybe it is somebody we don't know. It is an 813 phone number, which is our county, so I think it might be somebody we know. But yeah, it'll be fun to listen to that. And yeah, that's it. Let's see. My wife is talking to me about bringing dinner home. All about dinner. Dude, how is everybody holding up through this whole situation with staying at home and everything like that? We have now moved to 2 days a week remote, and me and Zach will come in 3 days a week here to work, because they just now announced in Florida the whole safer at home or stay at home or whatever they're calling it. But I swear, if you look at the list of essential workers, it feels like it's everybody. It's not. I mean, there's barbershops are closed and a lot of things are closed, but we're still considered essential because we help with agriculture. So we've got a letter that we keep with us if we ever get stopped or anything, like, why are you driving around? I'm like, well, we're on our way to work or on our way home from work. So yeah, this is one of the weirdest things that anybody's gone through that's still alive today, from what I've heard. I mean, it's just, people are going through some weird stuff. It's just a weird time. but we're trying to make the best of it. Trying to make as much content as possible. I've been playing. I've been showing Zach how to play Stardew Valley, which has been interesting and fun. We just got our strawberries last night, which is the highest paying crop.
Sorry for your ears.
Blast it. Blast it. Where's my hat? I'll be right back. Let's turn my hat. I get self-conscious about my receding hairline.
Why?
I don't know, because it's not there anymore. And it used to be there, and now it's not. So it always
They don't know that. You weren't live streaming when you were 11?
It's true.
They had no clue.
What's happening right now?
What do you mean?
We just got 2 new followers on the Twitter, and both of them look like they're not real people.
You are not wrong. I do not think that is a real person.
And here's another one. What's happening? Dang it.
I bet it's because we're streaming more.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is. I don't think that's what it is.
Who knows?
I don't understand. Why do those exist?
What? Those like...
Whatever they are. I mean, it's like a bot or something, right? Or what is it? I don't know what it is.
I would guess it's a phishing attempt. You know, they just put links on their tweets all the time, and like, because
it's very scantily clothed women. There's 3 of them that just friended us within an hour.
It's because Kirk's just putting out that vibe.
No, that's not what's happening at all.
Don't lie.
You see our Twitter? It's our Twitter.
Our Twitter is just the most attractive thing that could possibly exist.
I mean,
People see it.
I won't argue with that.
Like, okay, here's a hierarchy.
We do have a sense of Twitter.
There's like, I don't know, like Chocolate and Roses, Marvin Gaye, our Twitter is the number 1.
Let's get it on. All right. Now, I needed my voice augmentation for that to sound right.
I'm glad you don't have it, because you sang it directly to me.
Now, I sang it to the chat, which doesn't. It's not much better because Keith was in the chat. It's just me and Keith.
That's why he left.
I scared him away.
He's like, stop singing Marvin Gaye to me.
All right, let's get into the other Discovery Show.
All right, let me get on my links here.
Yep, and get those phone calls ready.
Okay. All right, what am I doing first?
You have
Gentleman Bandit.
Gentleman Bandit.
Okay. I think I'm mostly ready.
Ooh, Snap Judgments Spooked has a new episode. That was Josh's favorite show.
I've never heard someone get more triggered by a podcast in my entire life. Hey, I found $1 in my hoodie.
Nice. It's a good day.
Yeah, it's great.
For you. Has not been a good day for me. Oh, man.
Do you want to tell the story?
I don't want to tell the story.
I don't blame you for messing with you.
It's just, suffice to say, it's been a crappy day. All right.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the other Discovery Show, the podcast that's about everything else that doesn't have anything to do with podcasts. That's made by the dang it.
Take 2.
Oh man!
I was wondering how long you were going to circle around that. It has to do with things that are not what the things that we normally and then there's things that are different than that. That sometimes you need to look at things that are outside of your things that you normally talk about, and things are there that are not your normal things. They're different things.
I'm Kurt. Oh man. Welcome to the Other Discovery Show, the podcast that's not about podcasts. It's about all the other things we found out throughout the week. I'm Kirk.
And I am Zach. And it's time to explore your bodies.
No,
No, I didn't do
okay.
it.
You're scaring me. I'm like, no.
Especially because last week we did the butt, so it puts us right in the danger zone when we're talking about what's next.
Now everyone just has something to fear or look forward to if Josh ever comes back on the show.
I think that just whenever he realizes that is the next level up, we're in trouble. He's gonna return.
The next level around.
Yep.
All right, so what you got, Zach? What's your first discovery this week?
My first discovery this week is another Gentleman Bandit. So I've been doing these a little bit. Well,
Yeah.
it's been a couple months.
You need to make a little theme song or something.
Gentleman Bandit. Is that our theme song?
Yeah,
All right,
there you
we're gonna clip that. That's gonna be it. So this week's Gentleman Bandit. This week's Gentleman Bandit is Vincenzo Pepino, and
Vincenzo Cucumber?
I mean, I don't know. It's spelled with an I. I know. I don't know. My Italian's not great. I'm sorry.
It's Pipino.
Okay, sure. Pipino. Okay, I'll just start.
Pipino.
It's not that one. I'm gonna go ahead and disclaimer right now. My Italian's bad. I don't know.
It's Pipino.
I thought I was doing good by knowing that that's Vincenzo.
It is Vincenzo. You're right with
So
that.
I thought I was doing good.
I'm sorry.
but
You said cucumber. I'm like, his name is Vincenzo Cucumber.
Vinny the Cucumber is what they called him in jail. They did not. Okay, so this is an Italian art thief, and he is known as literally the Gentleman Thief. He is the first person to successfully steal from, once again, sorry, I think it's Doge's Palace, DOGE Palace. And they had a ridiculous amount of very old, culturally significant art in there. So, okay, during his lifetime, he committed over 3,000 thefts at museums,
That is a
galleries,
lot.
banks, and private residences, 50 thefts of jewelry shops, and stole thousands of kilos of gold throughout Europe. His activities have resulted in 300 complaints to the police. He's been arrested numerous times and received 15 sentences totaling over 25 years in prison. And let's just get into a little bit about Vincenzo because it's wild. So he was raised fairly poor after World War II, and his family didn't have a lot of money to he was hungry basically. And so he was sitting in the back of class, and basically he started getting kind of pushed into stealing things. So when he was 8 years old, he started stealing. His first move was he was an errand boy at a bakery, and so your easy move there is you steal some baked goods. So he started doing that when he was 8. His first major theft was a 50-liter aluminum milk churn, and he literally broke it down and junked it, sold it to a junk dealer. And then he also, and the thing, we know a lot about him now because he's written numerous memoirs. He is essentially like a cult hero in Italy.
I didn't know until, just you mentioned it. It feels like something super long ago.
No, he's alive right now.
Yeah, this is it's.
Yeah, he is alive right now.
Most of these, boop, 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 whatever our theme song is, Gentlemen Thieves or whatever, it's usually a long time ago.
Yeah, no, he is alive right now. And so, okay, by the age of 10, he would steal croissants off tables of people at cafes. So he'd just walk by and snag their croissants. And then his mother was worried, okay, he's stealing a bunch of stuff. And this is the most hilarious, ironic, however you want to call it. So she knew he was stealing a lot of stuff. And so she made up a ghost. So there's this ghost called, she calls it the Golden Leg. I'm not even going to try and read it in Italian. I'm not going to do it.
La Gamba d'Oro.
There you go. See, it's close to Spanish, so you're probably right there. It was about a ghost of a woman who had fallen in their apartment building's stairwell and died after impaling herself on a nail. She said the woman was haunting...
Big nail.
Yeah, the woman was haunting the stairwell now. And so after dark, her leg would glow and she would haunt children who came in late. So the plan was be in bed by nighttime. That is not how that plan worked out. So Vincenzo was immediately afraid of the dark. Weird. weird that he was afraid of a glowing woman that was going to haunt him. And so what he learned to do was climb up the side of the apartment building, so he didn't have to go in the stairwell at all.
Much safer.
Yeah, it's much safer. And he also, because he was now afraid of the dark, decided that he needed to up his stealing game because he needs to be able to do it in the daylight. So she has just built a master thief by telling him that there's a ghost.
This is how fairly good parenting can go very wrong.
And I mean, yeah, she was trying. She was like, go to bed, stop stealing croissants and go to bed. And he's like, I'm going to learn to climb the side of a building and I'm going to be a master thief. That's not on her. There was other things at play here. But his first major theft was at a hotel. He followed a tourist, and while they were distracted, he stole a bunch he stole a bunch of money out of their pocket. But he did not know that you can't just walk into a bank with a huge amount of money and not have like ID. And so he was arrested and served seven months in jail because he couldn't sign for whoever this was. He just took the money.
Interesting.
So that was the first jail stint. By the age of 15, he had become an adept climber, all because he was terrified of a golden-legged ghost haunting his life.
I've actually learned about this guy now. I remember hearing about this. I think it was a Snap Judgment episode.
Oh, was it?
This guy, yep.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Years ago, but I remember hearing about him.
So he would, and like he had some weird things. So, okay, I guess this is when he was 15. He would go to a theater. He would set up a makeshift ticket booth at the back door of the theater and sell it just to children who couldn't afford the theater's prices. But he just did it. He's
what
like,
did he do? Just like
he just set
put
up
his foot in the door and be like, "I'll let you in."
He's like, hey,
he'd buy a ticket. Okay,
$1 per ticket. You want to come in?
So would he buy a ticket, go in, then go to the emergency exit, prop it open, and sell tickets so the kids could sneak in?
Basically, this is saying he climbs a window and would just let himself in.
So he wouldn't even buy a ticket.
No, he didn't. He never paid for it. He made money off this enterprise. He wasn't paying to get in. So he got married after that.
That's pretty genius. I gotta say.
So then, like I said, he became kind of a figure in Italian like lore, because he had done all of these things. I read somewhere that was almost like a compliment to have been stolen, like to have been robbed by Vincenzo.
It's like if your business or something gets tagged by Banksy.
Yeah,
it's
pretty
kind of
much
a compliment. But if you get stolen by Vincenzo Pickle, then
I'm not calling him Vincenzo Pickle. That's you. No one go on record.
Oh yeah, he's still alive. Dang it.
Yep. He has a Facebook. That's a little spoiler, but it's awesome. He has a Facebook now where he teaches people tricks of the trade and tells them not to do it, which is like, I don't know if that's gonna.
Well, I mean, that's what Mythbusters taught us. Don't try this at home. Okay, I'm gonna go try that at home.
Now I know exactly how to try it at home. You just showed me exactly how to do it. But part of the reason he had the Gentleman Bandit moniker, the Gentleman Thief rather, is he had a personal code of conduct where he would not use violence or blackmail, and even though he would rob jewelry stores, but he would never steal the items being repaired because he didn't want to impact the watch repair guys. He didn't want to impact anybody who their livelihood would be changed because of what he was stealing. So he wouldn't steal he would steal watches that people could buy, not watches that were being repaired. So he didn't put people like in a weird place. It's a weird code of conduct, but he had one. He also stole a lot of art, and he was very considerate. He never damaged any of the artwork he stole. He was very conscious of that. And he didn't want to leave a mess for his victims. For example, he would empty sugar bowls onto a kitchen towel instead of simply dumping the contents. So if he would steal something, he would be nice about it. He's like, look, there's no mess for you to clean up. I just took it and it's gone now. And he did become an art thief, was one of his main things. He would steal older relic type items, and all of it was, pretty much all of it was around Venice. And he would ransom it and then he would give it back. He had multiple times where he would steal things and he would give it back when people asked for it, because I think that he just wanted to make money in an intense way. So he had a lot of different crimes he committed, just stealing stuff, and he would always do it during the day. Always do it during the day, because he was always afraid of the dark. And so he would.
So even as an adult,
Yes.
he was a little,
Yes,
He was
because of
afraid
his
of the
fear of the
dark?
dark, most of his thefts were committed during the day to the discomfort of his accomplices. Because, yeah, you think, okay, I'm going to steal something. When should I do it? Dark time. When it's dark outside. But that
That's
is
great.
the opposite of what he did. And so, because he was kind of this figure, he ended up having a relationship with the police in the area. So there was a special investigation unit chief named Antonio Palmosi. Who
oh,
would
Dr. Pickle again. I got you.
Dr. Pickle?
No, I'm just saying like this.
Why
is like
why is he a doctor
This
now?
is what the I don't know. Because he's good at what he does.
Doctorate
He's got a
in robbery.
in theft. So like, it's you again, Mr. Pickle. I found you again, you dirty dog.
So Palmosi would meet Vincenzo for coffee after big thefts, because I think at some point they're like, okay, some major art piece just went missing in the middle of the day. I think I have an idea who might have done it. And so he'd call him up for coffee, and then he would offer to go recover stuff for him. So he would go negotiate a little bit and haggle with the police officers just to like be essentially a tool for them, so he could go steal stuff for them or like recover stuff. And so he would do all of this, and it was one of those things where it does say there was no favors if he's caught. So as long as you're not caught, it is what it is. You know, there's no way to prove it. It's just this is happening. So he was commissioned for a lot of money to go steal some paintings, and he did that. He stole multiple paintings constantly. And then I talked earlier about Doge Palace. I'm sorry if that. I'm sure that's not how it's pronounced. I don't know.
Doggy.
It can't be Dogi though. Can't be Dogi. So he is the first person to ever steal from this place. It was literally built, I believe, in the 1500s, and has since been turned into a museum. And so he was there, and he would do a lot of scouting. So he went there and he scouted out how he was going to do this. He figured out what was going on, and then he went in as a tour. And then when he had a second, he separated from the tour and hid in a room. He waited till nighttime. He came out, and there was apparently like a long bridge that goes to prisons. There was guards that would pass by every 45 minutes. And as soon as the guard passed him at 2 a.m. in the morning, he left his cell and he returned, and he grabbed a painting from the 1500s called Madonna col Bambino?
Where is this?
Bambino? It basically is, it's a very historically significant.
Madonna con Bambino.
There you go. But it's an L. I don't know. But he stole a very culturally significant painting.
It
And
looks like Mary holding a small
Priest?
grown person.
is it a priest?
I don't know,
I don't
but
know.
it's a little bit scary because it looks like it should be a child, but it's a grown adult.
But
I don't like it.
basically, he is so good at what he did, and he didn't trust anybody else, that the people that were working with him were like, hey, let's figure out how to do this. And he didn't want to get caught. So he's like, look, I'll do it by myself. And they're like, well, what are you going to steal? He's like, read the newspaper. So basically, he had a lot of just like baller moves throughout this whole time. And so the next day, the newspaper said, shock at Doge's Palace, an easy theft. And literally, he stole a very culturally significant painting. And he also stole the jawbone of St. Anthony of Padua, which, once again, you probably don't want to steal artifacts that were from saints in Italy.
So is this a skull, like a
I
jawbone
think
from a
it's
real
literally
person?
a jawbone of him.
It's a little bit of a disturbing thing that.
It is. But
why?
But the next day, he got a phone call from Palmosi, the detective, the chief inspector for this bureau. And he's like,
Mr. Pepino,
He
why
ba-
you take this thing?
yeah, something like that. That's paraphrased. It's not in here. But he basically said, look, I will have you watched all the time unless you take both of those back. Like, you can't do that. And so Vincenzo told him the painting would be returned within 20 days.
Within 20 days.
Yeah.
I love how that's a pretty good bit of time. What's he gonna do with it in the 19 days before it's gone?
Yeah.
Or back.
No, and I don't know, because
He's going to charge people to come look at
It's
it.
interesting because this one even says there's inconsistent stories about subsequent events, but the painting was recovered and the police held a press conference announcing an anonymous tip led to his recovery. And then one of his accomplices for this was a mobster, and that person negotiated the return of the jawbone in exchange for the release of his cousin from jail. So there was a lot of shenanigans going on here.
That's some sketchy stuff right there.
So basically, then he went to prison. He was an informant for the cops. He's been busted many times for credit card fraud, where he would buy very expensive things with other people's credit cards. He's been popped multiple times for drug trafficking, but insists he doesn't do it.
Oh man.
He basically he says like, I don't mess with drugs at all, and
he's an honest guy, right?
Yeah, he is. No. He's basically just says that this is not true. He doesn't mess with drugs at all. I don't know. That's what he says. And he has since written multiple memoirs and books about all his experiences. People have written about him, and that is this week's Gentleman Thief.
Gentleman Thief. All right, so that brings me to my... See, we talked about your Gentleman Thief for 15 minutes, and that was an amazing story, and I have a one-sentence fact. And I feel a little
Let's
bit
hear the
embarrassed.
fact.
But it blows my mind, because first of all, I do miss Disney very much. Disney, I miss you, if you're listening.
Who's Disney? Walt Disney? He's not listening.
He's frozen, right? I'm kidding. We know that's not true, but...
Is it though?
In the future, when he's unfrozen and he can listen to podcasts, which I'm sure he'll want to do.
That'll be his first thought.
This, Mr. Disney, I miss you so much, and I like your mouse.
Phrasing.
But recently I learned that I'm gonna make a new Reddit page that just says recently I learned
Sometime
instead
I
of
learned.
today I learned. All right, today I learned that Disney is the second most. They buy the second most amount of explosives in the U.S. I guess the right way to phrase what I was just trying to say, which is real stupid, and I'm gonna put an edit because I sound like an idiot. But today I learned that Disney World is the second largest purchaser. Dang it. Today I learned.
You okay?
Oh man. Today I learned that Disney is the second largest purchaser of explosives in the United States.
Under who?
Only under the U.S. Department of Defense. Only under our military.
No, I mean, that's good. I was making sure it wasn't some weird wild card in there.
No. So, I mean, there's not a lot more to this, and there is an article, but it's very short, and it just talks about that. But I think it's crazy, but it is cool because every single night Disney has like fireworks shows at all of their theme parks. And I've thought, I wonder how much like innovation and stuff in firework technology has gone on, because this is one of the only places in the world that does nightly fireworks.
Yeah. No, and it's impressive. I will say that. If you've seen Disney's firework display, it's something you remember.
Now, the one that I've always thought was interesting, and when I started digging into Disney stuff, is they have a show at Epcot, and it's right there in the middle of the lagoon, the Seven Seas Lagoon.
Did you say lagoon?
Not lagoon, lagoon.
Lagoon.
But because of where it's at, they can't use like black powder or whatever as a propellant to get into the sky.
Mm-hmm.
So they invented, it's essentially, it's air cannons that shoot the fireworks into the sky before they explode. So they don't have to have all these explosives. I'm sure there's different laws about what you're allowed to have, certain amount distance from people. So for them to be able to do it within that close to people, they weren't able to do those types of explosives, but they'll use air cannons, and they basically invented their own to be able to do the show that they do at Epcot.
Yeah, it's wild.
But it's crazy that Disney is second most purchaser of explosives. I don't know why that's so difficult for me to say, but they buy the second most amount of explosives in anybody in the U.S. other than the military. I love how the military is number one and Disney's number two.
Yeah, no, it's about as American as I can think of.
America.
Yeah.
You know what it's time for? It's time for some phone calls.
Oh, we do have some phone calls for you. Okay, let's start with a return. Someone has been giving us a couple more phone calls, and I think you need to hear it because one of our favorite things that's happened so far is we got a new theme song developed by a fan.
Yeah, and I think that I'm gonna, if anybody is listening or watching this, and you are very good at auto-tune and then like creating music and stuff like that, let us know and I will send you this audio file, and please make me a jingle out of this because it's great.
It's this one, right? Hey guys, oh my goodness.
Yep, that's it.
Okay, yep. So this is
Friend of the show?
Yeah, friend of the show. And you've heard him before, but here he is again.
Hey guys, oh my goodness, oh,
I feel like I should mute
thank
that.
you so much for playing my song. It was you have no idea what it means to me. Nobody's ever given me a chance, and now I got my big break on your podcast. Oh, thank you so much. So I took your advice, and during this time of,
We've given him
all the
big break on our
quarantines and
broadcast.
the social distancing, I decided to be creative and just, kind of write a little bit more of the song. So I just really wanted to share that with you guys today. Oh man, I'm so nervous, but here it goes, okay? It was a Tuesday morning. I checked my podcast feed. It was the PDS, exactly what I
so
need.
stupid.
Yeah, the
Funny conversation with Kirk
It
and
was the
Zach.
PDS, exactly what I
I
need.
laughed so
Funny
hard, I
conversation
almost broke my
back home while
back.
I'm eating soup.
Say yes, say yes, say yes to the PDS. I listen while I'm eating soup. I listen while I'm going poop. Say yes, say yes, say yes to the PDS. I listen while I'm watching shows. I listen while I touch my toes. Say yes, say yes, say yes to the PDS. Yes. That's all, guys. I love you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Well, that was amazing.
yeah. It's hard to really put into words what it feels like to have people write songs about our show for us.
Yeah, and I love all of the amazing things that our listeners are doing while they're listening to our show.
Amazing is a word for it.
Like eating soup. I mean, that's great. Soup. I think that our show pairs very well with soup.
With the vast majority
What
of
do you
soups.
think is the best soup for a pairing for our show?
Beans.
Beans soup.
Bean soup. It's very simple to make.
It goes great with the second part of that line of the song.
Yeah, no, I felt like that was implied as he was eating some beans soup.
And also, I'm assuming that when you're touching your toes, you're doing some workout. So this is a workout. We are a workout show. We are a.
Is there workout shows hosted by people that don't work out? Is that a thing? Because I mean, it can be. We can fill that role. Do you want to have people that are not in shape tell you that you should go work out? Because we'll do it.
Hey, I used to work out before the gym closed.
I used to work out in like high school.
Yeah.
No, I've had moments of working out. But on a more...
But thank you so much for your phone call. Thank you so much for your jingle. We love it so much.
I
Please
love
don't stop calling.
I love the jingle. I do want an auto-tune version of Say Yes to the PDS, so we can just throw that out there periodically. We do have one more caller this week from our buddy.
In the field correspondent.
Our buddy
KG.
Keith. And I'm actually going to put this one on so I can hear it because I haven't listened to it.
Hey, what's up, Zach? What's up, Kirk? This is KG from Pop-Up Filmcast, movie correspondent. I called in once before, but then you guys got super busy, and I'm pretty sure I think my second call got lost in the shuffle. But with all this having to be stuck inside and streaming things, I figured I would throw out a couple of ideas there. I previously mentioned Killer Sofa when I was on before, but also Peanut Butter Falcon, great movie with Shia LaBeouf. Even recommended it to my mom. She said she liked it. You can take that being a positive or a negative, I guess. Who knows? Also featuring Shia LaBeouf, Honey Boy, which is about his time as a kid and his relationship with his father. Ready or Not is a bit of a horror film that I watched on a plane one time. That was actually not too shabby to watch as well. What else have I watched? Jay and Silent Bob Reboot is over on Amazon Prime. And that's actually pretty enjoyable. I saw the Roadshow last fall when they came through with the live crowd and everything like that. And then rewatched it again. And it's not the best of their series, but it's still not too bad of a movie. Something else I watched recently, and I'm blanking out on it a little bit, but there's plenty of good stuff. I will continue to call in with recommendations. All right, talk to you guys later. Oh, I just remembered it. Jojo Rabbit, if you can find that streaming somewhere as well. Taika Waititi's World War II film, where he plays a very fun version of Hitler, if that's even such a thing. He actually very fun and entertaining in that movie. It's also got Scarlett Johansson as well in it, about a young boy who's training to be a Nazi, but finds out that his mother is housing a young Jewish girl in the crawl space of their house. So go ahead and check those movies out, and I will call in with more as we go on, as I'm the official film correspondent. Later.
All right, back up.
Thank you to our In the Field movie correspondent, Keith, from the Pop-Up Filmcast. An amazing show that everyone needs to go check out immediately.
100%. There's a great episode of that show called the Stinkwater Trilogy.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the first times they had a trilogy on there.
I know, and that's because we're groundbreakers.
We are groundbreakers.
Something like that.
So, Keith, because you mentioned Peanut Butter Falcon, I watched it just the other day, and it was amazing. And I cried a little bit, and it made me smile, and it made me laugh, and I loved it. It was just a good story.
Yeah, no, I've heard a lot of good things about that, and Jojo Rabbit, honestly.
I had never heard of that one. What's that one about?
He told you in the thing. It's a kind of like a political satire in a way of World War II, because I think his name's Taika Waititi.
So that's the one with the Nazis.
Yeah, and he's playing Hitler, and it's like people were kind of upset because he's doing like a Hitler movie, and it's supposed to be semi-funny, but I don't know. It's a weird thing. I've heard it's something you need to watch, like something just to check it out, because he's done something odd. So,
right.
What can you do other than that? But yeah, thanks so much for calling in, Keith. We really appreciate it.
Looking forward to some more recommendations. We really appreciate it. Thank you for your discoveries.
So, anybody who has listened for a while will know that I like baking things. And Kirk just had something I baked this week.
I didn't so much have it as I did just inhale it. And it was amazing. It was a tiramisu.
It was a tiramisu.
And I took like 2 bites, and then I kind of blacked out. And then I woke back up, and it was gone.
Yeah, that one did not last long at the house. But I saw this article on, you guessed it, Atlas Obscura.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic site. Seriously, check them out. They're not a sponsor, but if they ever wanted to be, that would be the easiest decision of my life, because I love it so much. So, there is someone called the King of Pie, who in the early 1920s, was dealing with a crisis, which was people have ovens now. And so it's really easy to make cakes. And so people were making cakes at home. The entire, putting myself in this era kind of blew my mind. Like, he's a pie mogul. Cakes are trying to take over the game. And he's like, no, we're not gonna go quietly into that great night. We're gonna fight back.
This is like the TV killing the radio guy. This is that version of it.
Kind of. So there's a guy who is way too serious about pie in the best way possible. The way that only a fanatic person who's going to innovate things can do it. And he decided, you know what? I'm gonna do this like science, and we're gonna figure out how to make the best pies in the world. And so, for example, he once made 150 different versions of a cherry pie. And he wouldn't even call them recipes. He called them formulas. And like he was a little snarky. At some point, he said, "Okay, his pie fixation also meant he had the tendency to get a little high and mighty." Strauss once sniffed that housewives tend to be too slipshod for scientific pie making. Like that's a thing. That's not like a thing.
Scientific pie making.
No, but it was for him. And so this is all in the 20s, and so like all the pictures on this article are black and white. And he was trying to find something that was going to change the game, and he did. He invented two things that were pretty influential. One is the chiffon pie, which is essentially you make a custard that is mixed with the meringue, so it's like really fluffy. And he apparently did it just because all the like custard pies he said were like cornstarch pudding, and at some point when he was a child he ate too much and he threw up, so he's like, get that out of here.
Get that out of my face.
And so he like made a new way to do it. And then because he made a new awesome filling, he also came up with the graham cracker crust.
Ooh.
And that is a staple.
Yes, it is.
Of pies now. And so, and I mean, just for a little context, it debuted at 35 cents a slice. Or I mean, that would be $5 today. But I like the idea of 35 cents a slice, although we would all be much fatter. And he like really was behind the marketing of everything. He wanted to.
I gotta pee really.
Okay.
So I think it was a decent.
Yeah, you're
It
good.
was in the marketing side of things.
Keith, you still in here? Thanks for the call in. We appreciate it.
That waffle maker, though.
Yep. Keith's waffle maker he put on there. It is amazing. So not only was this guy being a tastemaker in pie, finding new ways to innovate, he also knew the value of marketing. And so he had actresses try out his new pie and everything like that. And so he kind of hit it with this, and people were going and they were getting pie again. They forgot all about cake. And this was in the 1920s. Like, things were about to happen. They had no clue, but things were about to happen in the world. But this all became a huge deal after the fact. It became a very popular trend in general. But he was able to hold on to the secret long enough that he hit it and became the Pie King.
The King of Pie.
So and honestly, looking at this, I did look up a recipe, and I can share that with everybody because I want to try a lime chiffon pie. Because look at that, it looks delicious. It looks like a key lime pie, but fluffy.
It does look like a key lime pie, but it looks also like it. I don't know right doing it.
Yeah, we just heard
real quiet.
We just heard a weird noise. But yeah, he's the king of pies.
Yeah.
Hold on, we're gonna be right back. We gotta check on something. Sorry, this is terrible live streaming. You think so?
Yeah, sorry about that. We record in our offices after hours, so just making sure someone wasn't coming by to visit or do something like that. We're trying to break into the place, God forbid. I am excited to talk to you guys in a minute about something that we contributed to the world. Yeah, we're going to take complete credit for it, and you'll know in just a minute what that thing is. And also, I want to talk about my favorite discovery that we did this week in the Podcast Discovery Club. And if you're not in the Podcast Discovery Club, you should be. It's on Facebook. Look up the Podcast Discovery Club. We give a daily disco every single day, which is short for Daily Discovery if you haven't figured that out. And Josh hated that, by the way. That was mine. I'll take the credit for that one. I did a lot of things that Josh hated, and that was one of them. But yeah, we do a daily discovery of something good, funny, scientific breakthroughs, goofy. I'm partial to the funny ones. I like funny stuff. And if I can make someone smile, even if I'm not there, it makes me feel good. So if one of my discoveries makes you giggle just a little bit, my job is done. Zach is back.
I've been giggling the whole time. Your job is done. So for the final discovery of the week, and we'll have more on pie next week, but I don't want to load everybody down. What?
Not the final discovery yet.
Oh, you have one?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
That's so mean.
I was like,
My feelings.
I don't care about
hurt.
your discoveries. It's time to go. Go ahead.
He's like, I want to go home. Shut
No.
up, Kirk.
I literally thought that was the end.
I'm just messing with you. So, if you haven't been living under a rock, then you have probably heard of or watched the new Netflix show.
Oh, okay, yes.
The Netflix show that we inspired because back in, I don't know, it was maybe in the summer of last year, Josh brought a discovery about Carol Baskins.
And about a guy trying to assassinate her.
Yeah. And so we planted the seed into this producer of a Netflix show, and he did it very fast.
Our influence is so strong, it goes back 5 years before we said it.
Yes. So if you don't know what we're talking about, we inspired, what's the name of the show?
Tiger King. I wondered if you were trying to set up a reveal.
No, I was basically waiting for you to say it.
Yeah, it's called Tiger King.
I had Joe Exotic in my brain. I'm like, that's not the name of the show. That's
He does stick in your brain though.
Yes, so we inspired the Netflix phenomenon that is Tiger King. And I just want to say, you're welcome.
Yeah, if anybody hasn't watched this, there's trigger warnings. It's a lot about weird adultery, murder, cults, tiger violence. They're like, yeah, that sounds insane. That's not even barely scratching the surface. We won't spoiler anything because it really is a wild ride to watch this show.
I'm not kidding. I didn't want to watch it because I don't know. I think deep inside of me there's a hipster in there, and he's like, everyone's doing this. I ain't gonna do that. And everyone was watching it. I'm like, I already know that story. We talked about it on the other Discovery show one time. And then me and Zach didn't have any. We'd watch The Office every single day. And we're like, hey, let's watch one episode of this show. And we were like, what did we just watch?
Every episode is mind-blowingly insane.
I think I heard it. I heard one of the best descriptions of the show, which is it's like 12 dumpster fires going off at the same time.
Yeah.
And as soon as you think one's gonna die down, another one just like erupts, and it's just like you can't stop watching it, and you're like, how is any of this real?
Seriously, if someone wrote this in fiction, I would
Everyone
say
died.
it's contrived and terrible, but it is real, and you should check it out.
It's an amazing show.
It's
it really
insane.
is. And also, before we go, I wanted to talk about our podcast, Discovery Club, and I'm going to start bringing our favorite discovery every week that we have shared or someone else has shared in the podcast Discovery Club. I'm going to take the credit for this one. I found this one. So this is our daily discovery.
Of course this is the one you're going to do. Okay.
Why? Have you read this one?
No, I just see the tagline. It's not like I don't know what's going to happen.
It's just such a great story.
It's a story.
So I found a Vice
There's a
article.
Reese's ad.
Dang
That's
it.
terrible.
I found an article on Vice.com that it was about how a plane.
No, read the slug now.
I gotta read the title.
Yeah,
I can't even.
yeah, you can. You can do it. I believe in you.
Anus horribilis. Horribilis.
Yep, horribilis.
A year ago today, someone did a poop. They didn't say poop. So bad that it grounded a plane. And dang it. When this was written, it was the 1 year anniversary of a time that. Long story short, I've read the article. It is funny. It is written very well, and it is a funny article. I mean, it's a Vice article. It's silly. But yeah, there was a plane, and a lot of the passengers started complaining that there was really bad smells, and they thought there was like a chemical weapon on board or something like that. So they literally turned the plane around and landed, and come to find out, one of the passengers had lit up that bathroom so bad that it stank the whole plane up, to the point where they ended up having to land the plane.
That's serious. And like, I get it. Sometimes like you're in the plane, like your stomach gets upset, but that is a worst case scenario for me. I feel like I barely fit in those bathrooms. I have to duck down to like be in it, and just I would not feel comfortable going to the bathroom in an airplane like that. It would have to be a serious emergency situation.
I've never gone number 2 in a plane before.
I haven't either.
I've been in a lot of planes, and I've never gone number 2 in a plane.
I want to never have to. I don't enjoy being in a plane
After
bathroom.
reading this article, I'm even more terrified to ever go to the bathroom in a plane,
I get
because
that.
I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, no, I get that. You need at least like courtesy flush 3 or 4 times. It's fine. It just shoots out of the plane, right? Just like launches it.
Yeah, it just shoots it out of the plane. And
There's a catapult attached to the side of a plane, and when you push the flush, it just right out.
look out below. All right. On that note, I think that'll do it for this week's The Other Discovery Show. If you want to find some amazing and very fun discoveries like that one, join us over at the Podcast Discovery Club on Facebook, or you can follow us on Twitter. We share the same articles on Twitter as we do on Facebook, because we know that some people are like, I'm not on Facebook, but I'm on Twitter, or I'm not on Twitter, but I'm on Facebook. So we do both. We do have an Instagram. We don't really know what to do on there yet. We have a few pictures. We're working on that. But yeah, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, join the group on Facebook, join the conversation. And also, we do live stream this every week over on our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel will be in the show notes. Join us next week. Let us know what you
Yeah,
think.
anything you're thinking
what are some
about.
discoveries that you found? Let
Or-
us know in the chat.
Just say whatever you want. It's really fine. We just want to talk to you. That's why we started live streaming, so we could talk to you while we're doing this. We felt like podcasting was an impersonal experience with the people who listen.
Yeah, we just kind of record and throw it out into the ether, and it's just gone. And people listen to it, but it's like, we don't know you. We want to know you. We want to say hi.
We do. We want to know you.
So, yeah, let us know. And also, just like our friend Keith and our other friend that we don't know your name, you can call the Discovery Hotline. That will be in the show notes as well. Call that number. Leave us a message. If you found out something amazing, let us know. Or if you just got something to say about the show, call the hotline.
For anybody who is just listening and doesn't want to look at the show notes, the hotline number is 813-708-9118. That's the Disco Hotline. We will have you on the show. You're talking straight to us, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yes, we would. So, guys, that brings us to our last discovery. Zach, what amazing band do you have to tell us about this week?
This one actually kind of blew my mind. This was an episode that we recorded and is now gone, so I'm going to bring it up again. And his name is Bruce Sedano. He was married to Donna Summer and wrote a lot of music for her in the 80s. His daughter and son-in-law are Johnny Swim.
Johnny Swim?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He wrote songs for Michael Jackson. He
And
wrote
you
songs.
interviewed this guy?
Yeah, he wrote songs for Reba McEntire. He's been around. He's done crazy stuff, and his name is Bruce Sedano. He's a great guy. And as always, if you'd like to find out more about it, I talked to him on Creators Cove, so you can look that up and you can hear my conversation with him.
That's
but
awesome.
The song is called "She's With Him." He has been releasing a lot more music recently, so check out his social media profiles and you can see his newest stuff that's out right now.
All right, guys. And remember, say yes. Say yes. Say yes to the PDS.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
In the books, brother.
Anybody who is watching on the live stream, let's open it up. If anybody has any last things that they want to say,
last words?
we'd love to hear it. But we really appreciate you checking it out, joining the live stream.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out how to get this on Facebook as well. We're working on it. Honestly, the video end, we're still learning. It's new to us, just like podcasting was for a long time, and we learned from experience.
Yeah.
Now I feel like we're pretty good at it. I feel like we're still on the learning end of the video and live streaming, and
I feel like that's accurate.
I enjoy it. I mean, I think there will be a day where we have a good bit of people in the chat, and it'll be a fun thing to have.
Honestly, I am really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to having a little back and forth with chat and everything.
Yeah.
So. But regardless, thank you so much for watching. Follow us on our Twitter. Follow us wherever, because we're probably gonna do this about same time, same bat time, same bat channel next week.
Yep.
And we also have been doing a little live streaming of Stardew Valley. If you want to see us just goof off in a video game.
Yeah, I'll probably
tomorrow morning.
We'll probably do some tomorrow. Maybe.
Might happen.
If it's not both of us, then it'll at least be one of us. I've been playing without you as well.
On our farm?
No, not on our farm. Our farm is sacred. That's the PDS farm.
That's the PDS farm. Those are PDS strawberries.
So the PDS strawberries.
But
Those
yeah.
are special.
Thanks for listening so much. And we will see you next week. Subscribe to us on YouTube. That'll also send you a notification when we go live.
Go get you a free t-shirt. For real. I mean, it's a free t-shirt.
Well, you can't have one of these. These are our special VIP hoodies.
Yeah. Brands and Empires hooked us up with some special hoodies, but we do have these awesome t-shirts.
They're amazing, actually. We tried to get nice shirts so that they're comfortable. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, for listening, for tuning in, for supporting us. We really appreciate it. And we will talk to you next week.
Bye.